Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me now. I saw a message in the chat saying, there is no sound, there is no sound. What do we do? What do we do? We hadn't started just yet. So, thank you very much for registering for the Shakespeare School CELTA webinar. From learner to teacher, the CELTA experience that changes everything. Yes, thank you for the confirmation. We have audio contact. Now, out of curiosity, I know that some of you have already started doing this. Could you please write in the chat where you're currently based? So, hello, hello, and where you're currently based. Iași, Sighișoara, Bucharest, Skopje, Vaslui, Botoșani, Cluj, Suceava, Craiova. Okay, wow, wow. So, such a lot of places all over Romania, and I saw Mexico and Iran and Croatia, I think. Absolutely fantastic. Well, wherever you're connecting from, everybody, I hope you will find this webinar informative and well worth your time. Let me introduce myself as well. I am Georgiana Bose. I am one of the Shakespeare School CELTA trainers, and I am here today to share information and details about the CELTA with you in general and from our experience at Shakespeare School so far in particular. Like many of you present here today, I am a teacher of English with a keen interest in professional development. With this in mind, I got my Cambridge teaching qualifications and later on went through the rigorous Cambridge process to become a certified CELTA tutor. And now, more than a decade later, here we all are today. Well, I'm not here alone though. Please allow me to introduce Aniela Bușilă, the Cambridge University Press and Assessment Educational Consultant, whom many of you are familiar with. She's here to talk to you about CELTA 2 and how this teacher training gold certificate can definitely make a difference in your career. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a very warm welcome to the one and only Aniela Bușilă, Cambridge University Press and Assessment.
Thank you, Georgiana. Good evening, everybody. I'm just looking at the participants from all over Romania and not only. And we are now 725. That's incredible. Thank you very much for making the time to find out more about CELTA. Now, before that, I'd like to introduce Cambridge University Press and Assessment, because sometimes parents, for CELTA, Cambridge University Press and Assessment is the parent. Parents are not known in detail. So we are the leading assessment, the market leader assessment body in the entire world. We're part of the university with a global reputation for excellence, and many of us have been English learners and teachers. Our teaching, our learning and assessment approach is increasingly integrated, combining educational technology with language insights. Together, we help learners, we help teachers like you, and school leaders achieve their ambitions. Since 1913, we've been developing a range of qualifications for non-native speakers, but also qualifications for teachers. And we have also developed many official preparation materials that are nowadays used all over the world. 25,000 institutions all over the world say yes to Cambridge qualifications, and most of them say yes to CELTA, the certificate for teachers that want to be their best version at any age. regardless of your age, regardless of your previous experience, CELTA may be that experience that will transform you, not only as a teacher, but also as a person. I'm also CELTA certified, and I must admit it was quite challenging at the moment when I did it, because we didn't have CELTA in Romania. I had to go to another country and I had to stop teaching for a month. I had to pay you know, transport and accommodation and everything. It was challenging. So that was the moment when I promised myself that I would bring CELTA to Romania. And I did it, but I couldn't have done it without Shakespeare School. So this brings me to the next point of my presentation, which is a thank you open letter to Adriana Lionte, the founder of Shakespeare School in Romania. She was the only one who who used her knowledge, her ambition to always get better, always getting better, and she started building the first CELTA center in Romania. So Adriana, I know at a certain point you'll hear my message. Thank you very much, because as you can see, 815 people are now interested in how they can benefit from CELTA and how CELTA can change their lives. Dear participants, before I go, I just want to tell you that Shakespeare School is not only an authorized CELTA center in Romania. They've been amazing partners for about 20 years with Cambridge University Present Assessment. They prepare their teachers, prepare candidates for our qualifications, and they always do an excellent job, always being the mirror of our principles in education, in learning, in teaching and assessment. That's one of the reasons why this year Shakespeare School has got yet another formidable title. Id Est Cambridge English Educational Partners. So you're in good hands, and I congratulate you for choosing how to spend your time in quality time in the company of Shakespeare School and Georgiana Bose, who's an amazing teacher trainer and CELTA trainer. Georgiana, please guide these wonderful people, curious people, through how they can become CELTA certified with Shakespeare School. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aniela. And it's clear that CELTA has its own place among the Cambridge International Teaching qualifications. And I think it's extremely important to raise awareness about its significance. And this is precisely what Shakespeare School, as a well-established CELTA center, and you as the direct representative of Cambridge University Present Assessment, we are doing today. Now, everybody, if there are questions that might come to mind throughout the webinar, very much connected to the CELTA course and the certificate, or as I've already seen before, questions related to teaching in general, you can write them in the Q&A section at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And at the end of the presentation, Aniela and I will have a look at the questions listed there, and we will go through them together. Let's use the chat for hellos and questions and answers related to exactly what I'm presenting right now, and the Q&A for something that you would like an official answer to at the end of the webinar. Now, let's find out more about the Shakespeare School CELTA Center and all there is to know about the CELTA course, with the main focus on its benefits. Now, who and what is Shakespeare School? Well, one of the best English language centers in Romania, with over 23 years time of expertise in the field of English language teaching. We pride ourselves on the high quality services in terms of rigor, educational practices, and up-to-date research, with a keen focus on performance and relationship to make the learning experience pleasant and effective. In addition, as Aniela has already mentioned, Cambridge Assessment supports this claim, as we are one of the gold preparation centers for Cambridge exams in the country, distinction awarded not only due to the number of candidates that we've been enrolling since the beginning of times, but also due to the excellent results that our thousands of candidates have had in the wide range of exams they registered for. And in addition, again, I'm going to repeat something that Aniela has already mentioned. Starting this year, Shakespeare School has become a Cambridge English educational partner, being part of the very few elite centers around the globe to have been granted this title. Thank you very much, Cambridge English. Now, throughout the years, as Shakespeare School began growing as a language center, our expertise became wider and more impressive as well, and which is why we started sharing it with other teachers. First, we started in-house, and then slowly but steadily, nationally, with the Bright Teachers Shakespeare School program, and starting 2014, internationally. In 2014, Shakespeare School was the first ever center in Romania to become a fully accredited Cambridge CELTA center, and we have been running courses ever since in a wide range of formats: full-time, part-time, offline, online, and our over 370 graduates have been thoroughly trained by our tightly knit CELTA trainers team, who have been working together ever since to build a fully comprehensive and impeccably delivered course. Now, speaking of our CELTA courses, the two we ran this year have come to an end, yes, and I wanted to share with you some of our trainees' hot feedback. And one of the most memorable things that the trainees left us is exactly this, what you see on the screen. CELTA is an amazing experience. It challenges you, but it shows what great potential you have. And once you've concluded it, not only are you a more skilled teacher, but a stronger person as well. Now, broadly speaking, what did many of the former trainees appreciate about the center? Apart from the actual Cambridge certified teacher training course, of course, they were able to build a network of like-minded professionals and created bonds that will last. And we've had lots of people write back to us or come and visit us over the years saying, do you remember my Shakespeare School, my CELTA team? Well, we're still in contact with one another, and we've remained friends ever since. Now, to express their gratitude, many trainees still write back from time to time and tell us their news. They share what CELTA techniques they successfully apply in their own teaching context. They just keep in touch. And here is such an example. And as you're reading Maria's message, I would like you to find similarities with your own teaching style and maybe even context. And the moment you found them, write the similarities in the chat. So thank you very much for keeping on writing where you're from and your hellos. Now let's move on to something a little different. So once again, let's meet Maria and let's see what her feedback after she finished the CELTA course is. As you're reading it, write the similarities that you find to your teaching context in the chat. I'll leave you 30 seconds more. So somebody's already mentioned pair work and the fact that they resonate with this idea of keeping the students on their toes. I have to admit that I do too. And not only that, but I think pace injections are also very important just because you keep the students on their toes and they just go, oh, I can't believe the class is already ending. Now, from one success story to another, I'm going to show you some pictures that tell a story. And this is a CELTA story. However, you will need to find the connection between the pictures. Once a scenario comes to mind, I'd like you to write it in the chat. Picture number 1, 2, and 3. Once a scenario comes to mind in terms of the CELTA story that these pictures tell, write them in the chat. I'll leave you 1 minute. Okay, we still have ideas about Maria's message. Thank you very much. Mm, mm. Ha, very interesting. So lots of different scenarios. So some say traveling, which is something, yes, that the CELTA allows you to do because you can go and teach anywhere in the world. Holiday and vacation, okay, yes, this is part of traveling. Citizens of the world, discovery, I saw growth as well. A journey you don't make alone. Right. You are to a certain extent all right. The actual story behind these pictures is that they tell my CELTA story. So I did the CELTA in sunny Lisbon because, as Aniela was saying earlier, at the time there was no CELTA center in Romania. And that's where I got to meet an extraordinary CELTA team and a very bohemian host family. And bohemian because I'd like you to picture this: musical soirees, weekend trips to the beach, baby turtles on the balconies. For them mostly, not for me. But what I can tell you is that it was an experience I'll never forget because it represented both professional and personal growth at the same time. Yeah, and maybe a place where we can take a trip, somebody's mentioned it, right after this webinar when we can start the official holiday. Now, what were the main lessons that I learned on the course? First of all, that there is no such thing as perfection, but that everything is perfectible. And that the key to doing this is preparation and self reflection. And that apart from the planning, of course, in order to turn your classroom into a truly collaborative learning environment, you just need to keep your eyes on the students at all times. And all these conclusions came from taking the CELTA course because it is a transformative journey that equips participants with lifelong teaching skills. It is a true commitment to ongoing learning and it becomes an integral part of any teacher's identity. Now, to be more precise, the certificate in English language teaching to speakers of other languages is a certificate awarded by the University by Cambridge University to successful trainees taking the CELTA course. Because it is the world's most respected language teaching qualification, employers all around the world are aware of its reputation for excellence and request it, therefore turning it into an international teaching passport. It can even be considered as the starting point for a rewarding teaching career and the one training experience in your life that will boost your professional confidence. Now, the course in itself aims to develop your teaching methodology, to help you plan and resource a variety of lesson types, to improve your classroom management techniques, and to help you develop professionally based on 5 main topics. Learners and teachers, the learning and teaching context, language awareness, language skills, planning for different contexts, and developing skills and professionalism. It has 4 main components: methodology, teaching practice, feedback on teaching, and written assignments. And the main benefits are that it teaches you the principles of effective language teaching through practical, hands-on experience, and it provides you with a range of versatile skills, methods, and techniques you can employ in numerous teaching situations. In fact, practical and versatile are 2 very good adjectives to keep in mind when thinking about the CELTA course. Another great aspect about the CELTA course is that the assessment is continuous. It starts on day 1, it ends on the last day, and the list of criteria increases gradually. The reason it is so is because the focus of the course is on improvement, not on obtaining a certain grade. Now, who is CELTA for? Well, for you, of course, all of you interested in constant professional growth and development. And even though it was initially designed as a pre-service course, CELTA covers a wide array of needs and backgrounds. We start from beginner teachers fresh off university, experienced teachers who wish to sharpen their teaching practice and to become Cambridge certified, maybe even to qualify for a better teaching position, or people who want a career change. Now, you've told us where you're from. Which of these categories does your teaching context show? Are you a beginner teacher? Are you already working as a teacher? Or are you looking for a career change? Which is your scenario? 1, 2, or 3? Sports journalist, lovely. Already teacher, scenario number 2, okay. Career change, okay. Okay. So it seems that we have, for about 20 years, says somebody. So it seems we have a lot of people who are already working as a teacher. And as I can see, more and more people who are looking for a career change. I also saw a message coming through about somebody who's still at university, and I think you've made the right decision to take part in this webinar now so that you know what you can do immediately after you finish your university studies. All right, so the majority of us, as I've kind of predicted before, most of us are teachers or trying to become one or planning to become one. Now, when I did the CELTA and the Delta, I was also already an experienced teacher. And for me, those experiences were mind-blowing, eye-opening, life-changing. They completely changed my teaching style and how I work with students of all ages. And one main element that I immediately started applying in my lessons was how to keep the students, all the students, on their toes at the same time. That is, how to involve them simultaneously at all times. So it seems that we have the perfect mix in the audience, which means we can very well continue with the next informative slides. Now, what does it take to be a successful applicant? First of all, what I call maturity and wisdom. Second of all, a minimum C1 plus level of English, and third of all, the drive and motivation to put in the effort and do the necessary work to become an effective teacher. Your presence here tonight, however, is a testament to a minimum of 2, if not all 3 criteria that would stand you in good stead for obtaining the place on the CELTA course. So just so that you know. Now, after talking about suitability and meeting the necessary criteria for eligibility, let me share with you the whys you should want to take the course. So first of all, being awarded by the University of Cambridge, it bears its stamp of approval, making it internationally recognized, highly respected, and thus a benchmark for quality. And this is why CELTA has become the most widely recognized and accepted teaching certificate requested by employers around the world, and therefore the most sought after certificate by employees. Why the most sought after? For several reasons, and you've already mentioned one of them earlier when you thought about my pictures. A testament to good training on the one hand, leading to an impressive qualification in your CV, making you stand out when landing new job opportunities, nationally or internationally, and giving you the possibility to travel the world and teach to support yourselves. Now, why would you like to take the course some more? The second major reason is because the brilliant combination between the practical teaching experience, the diverse learner exposure, the feedback-driven improvement, and the emphasis on adaptability helps in developing a very flexible mindset, which is essential both in teaching as well as in all aspects of life, let's be honest. Now, just as a quick reminder, a growth mindset in close correlation to the principles of the CELTA course showcases a desire to learn, it embraces challenges, it persists in the face of setbacks, it sees effort as the path to mastery, it helps one learn from feedback and to find inspiration in the success of others. I call this the stolen golden nuggets. We see things that are well done, well set into practice, and we implement them into our own teaching. Now, the third major reason for taking the CELTA course, and I think one of the main reasons is related to the hands-on experience on the course. What does this actually mean? In short, it means literally teaching adult learners, being given feedback, and then adjusting the lessons accordingly. It also means you will experiment with various techniques and you will be able to develop many skills. For example, you will experiment with being a facilitator and with teaching based on the students' needs and interests. You will experiment with work with diverse learners who have their own different needs, learning styles, and abilities. You will be teaching in a real classroom with unexpected challenges, and you will be able to make quick decisions, come up with creative solutions so as to cater to students' evolving needs. You will experiment with varied techniques and approaches, allowing you to stay updated and adapt to any context. You will receive constructive feedback, allowing you to reflect and learn from experiences. As I said, yours and the other course participants as well. In conclusion, CELTA teaches you that mental flexibility, adaptability, and keeping an open mind are the main keys to success. If modern, effective, and sought after teaching methodology is all about personal interaction, hands-on experience, and the student's ability to take responsibility for their own learning process, then the role of the CELTA is to teach these modern standards of methodology through demonstration and hands-on involvement. Now, if you are a successful CELTA graduate, you can always become part of the Shakespeare School teaching team. Why not? How? Why? Well, simply because of these adaptable teaching skills that you come to develop over the course as well. Now, case in point, CELTA gives you adaptable teaching skills and you can use them in whichever context you're working with. I call it the M&M mix and match set of candies, if you want, of adaptable teaching skills. Now, I personally do exactly what CELTA preaches. And so let me tell you a little bit more about my teaching story. Before the pandemic, I taught solely in the traditional face-to-face environment until 2020. Now, because of the pandemic, you all remember the story, we had to transfer to the online environment. And with enough mental flexibility and the power of adaptability and an open mind, we were all able to meet the challenge. But I, for one, liked it so much that I decided to stay. And so here am I in 2025, still teaching almost fully online with three main CELTA principles that I always keep at the back of my mind. I want to keep my online classes as student-centered as possible. I want to build a collaborative learning environment, and I want to involve all the students at the same time as often as possible. How do I do this online? Well, with the magic of breakout rooms and screen sharing. And I would like to share with you my top 3 favorite online platforms, which I very frequently use with many intents and purposes. Number 1, bamboozle. Number 2, word wall. And number 3, Kahoot. Now, out of the 3, which are you most familiar with? Write it in the chat. Word wall? Kahoot, bamboozle, wordle, all of them. All right, so they are very familiar to you as well, and I'm very happy about it, which means we are going to speak a little bit more, knowing how to use them well, and maybe perhaps leave today with another idea of how you can use them in a different manner. Now, why do I like using them? Well, because they're fun. Duh. And because they provide variety, and because they have a gamification twist that students of all ages love and adore. And in the online environment, but not only, this gamification makes a lot of difference. Now, many other reasons to come. And as I said before, I use these 3 platforms in many different ways. But for today, I will only tell you how I use them for 2 purposes: practice, controlled and freer, and evaluation. For example, I like using Bamboozle for controlled practice rather than giving them a handout or having them work on an activity in the course book. They work on the same activity but in a game. The students work together in breakout rooms, in pairs. One of them screen shares and they take turns to click on a square and answer the questions. I monitor each breakout room closely, but they are mostly independent at this stage, as they can check what the correct answer is. And if they have a different answer to the one on the platform, Zoom has this option. You can click ask for help in the breakout room. The teacher instantly sees, and I join their breakout room and validate the option that they had or not, depending on the case. When they finish the game, they come back to the main session, and in class feedback together, we first discuss the more challenging questions. The ones that I identified as challenging, the ones that students identified as challenges, and only afterwards do they get to gloat about who won the game. Now, in the face-to-face classroom, because this is something also very much possible in the face-to-face classroom, I play it almost identically, only that I post the link on the students' WhatsApp group, or I create a QR code for them to scan and join on their phone. The students still work in pairs, but they use only one phone per pair. One partner takes it out, both players use the same phone, and they continue playing the game until this is over. Now, what would be the rationale behind using Bamboozle for controlled practice? Well, it's fun. Therefore, it might help build more motivation. Somebody wrote at some point in the chat that the more the teacher knows, the less the students seem to know. So maybe this will help to enhance their motivation. If they're working in as a team, this leads to a collaborative learning environment. They are actively engaged. They're all doing the same thing at the same time. The multimedia elements, you can insert audio, you can insert video. They get to play and click on different things. They cater to different learning styles, making it engaging and diverse. And because they have to analyze information, to make connections, to come up with solutions, This, I believe, also helps to develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Not to mention that the students receive instant feedback. You can easily identify strengths and areas for improvement in real time. You as the teacher and them as the students as well. Now, word wall. One way in which I use word wall is for freer practice. Speaking, to be more precise. I particularly like the speaking wheels, the speaking boxes, the speaking cards. You got the picture. Speaking. And again, students work in pairs, in breakout rooms, one of them screen shares. They take turns to answer the questions, giving as many details as possible, which is a rule that we discussed before. Again, I monitor very closely, first of all, to see that they are answering in full sentences and giving reasons and arguments. And secondly, to collect language for delayed error correction. When they are done, or when the time runs out, if you want to control the timing, you can also do that. In the main session, when they come back, we do a little content feedback. Ha ha ha, let's see what you found out. And then some language correction based on the answers I heard in the breakout rooms. And then we draw the last conclusions related to the language point they had just practiced. Now, in the face-to-face classroom, I generally do the same as for Bamboozle. I either post a link on their WhatsApp group if I have one with them, or they can scan a QR code that I create for them, and they work in pairs. All the other steps, monitoring, error correction, they're all the same. Benefits? Definitely. It's engaging and dynamic rather than them having a list of questions that they answer. They can play the game. They do lots of clicking and answering and going back and forth. It's interactive and more visually appealing than a list of questions, I repeat. Again, maybe it will help their motivation level to invest a little bit more effort. Because the environment is more interactive, this can help the more hesitant students become more comfortable speaking. It's not all the class that is listening to them, it's just their partner, they are equals, so they can very well speak their mind. Not to mention that all of these twists and turns and games that we have for the students online, they can prepare them for online communication and remote collaboration, which again, nowadays is very much a possibility. And now we're moving on to my students' number one choice, Kahoot! And one use that I have for it is assessment. Before class, I create a Kahoot based on whatever I want the student to test the students on. Then we play it open class. And like in a game show, you know the drill. They read the question, they click on an answer, and depending on whether all the answers were correct or not, we find clues, discuss options for various questions. We do not move forward until we have discussed the whys and why nots behind a certain question, as in why is the red one incorrect while the blue one is correct. Now, at the end of the game, the students are happy and energized. And I personally get my report from Kahoot, which I analyze and then decide on the course of action for the next lesson. In the report, you can see it on the screen right now. I see how accurately each question was answered. a selection of the most difficult questions, the overall percentage for all the students, and a detailed individual report for every student. Cool, right? Now, I don't know who is happier than at this point, the students because they are energized and they enjoyed the game, or me because I have all the information I would have needed to have after a very fun and engaging game. Benefits, loads. Well, because, so again, we're using it as a testing measure, or this is at least what I was telling you about earlier. Because it has a game-like nature, the environment is relaxed and there is very reduced test anxiety, if any. The participation is very active. Maybe this will lead to a deeper engagement with the content. It is accessible on various devices, and I think that nowadays there are very few students who don't actually have a phone with them. I think it leads to peer interaction and healthy competition, especially if you go for other formats of Kahoot, not necessarily the classic one. They learn from others' perspectives if they're playing as a team or as a pair, which is very much possible to do. The feedback is instant and it helps the students and the teacher to gauge understanding. Because there is always reflection process, you start discussing the questions and the answers. The students also think critically about the covered concept. So it helps them to internalize whatever you've taught them. And because you get the progress reports, you have actual data on every individual student's progress and performance. And you can turn this into support to individual students. At this point, everything I can say is thank you, CELTA, for helping me reach the mental flexibility to be able to mix and match the various techniques in all sorts of teaching environments. This is so because the CELTA teaches you the principles of effective teaching, you can actually take them to whatever your context, teaching context is, and you will see that they will fit the context. Maybe they will need a little tweaking, but the main idea stays the same. And this is exactly what happened to me. Now, you may think that I'm a little biased towards CELTA. You might be right, but I would like us to hear other people talking about the CELTA as well. And as they say, who better to listen to if not the horse's mouth? I have a video for you that I would like us to listen to. I hope you will be able to hear it. Here is one of our most recent course participants who would like to share with you her conclusions about the CELTA course. She will speak about what she liked most about the course. She will speak about how feedback pushed her to do what, how CELTA helped her to become what kind of a teacher, and what she now believes the CELTA course is, and if she advises you and everybody to go for it. I hope you will be able to hear. Andre, is there any way in which you can share the sound? I can't. Okay, let's see if this is audible enough. I hope it is.
Hi, my name is Ivana, and I've recently completed my
Oh, sorry.
CELTA course at Shakespeare School. What I liked most about CELTA was how practical it was. Everything we learned in the info sessions could be immediately tried out in the classroom with real students and with constant support from the tutors. The feedback process, although intense, was one of the most valuable parts because it pushed me to improve after each and every lesson. The immediate benefit I noticed during the course was how much more confident and structured I became as a teacher. Even while still on the course, I could see my lessons becoming clearer, my instructions sharper, and my students more engaged. Looking ahead, I plan to use my CELTA in my everyday work since I already teach English. It has helped me to become a better teacher with stronger methods and with a clearer approach to guiding my students. For anyone considering CELTA, yes, it is challenging, but it's also one of the most rewarding investments you can make in yourself. You'll grow not only as a teacher, but also as a communicator and learner. And finally, I would wholeheartedly recommend Shakespeare School CELTA Center. The tutors are incredibly supportive and professional, the atmosphere is friendly, and you feel guided each and every step of the way. If you are on the fence about it, go for it. It will change the way you see teaching forever.
The answers have already started to come through. Thank you very much. We will go through them very soon. Just wanted to tell you that Ioana is one of our most recent graduates. She did the intensive 1 month face-to-face course in the summer, this summer. And while she was a teacher beginning her career, she found it, as you've heard it yourselves, a very rewarding course. So number 1, I saw in the chat, you wrote practical. Number 2, I see numbers and words, improve. Number 3, I'm not sure I saw number 3 in the chat already, so maybe you can write it. So CELTA has helped me to become a more confident teacher, yes. A better teacher, with what kind of methods? Great methods, okay. Better methods, stronger methods, that was the word, yes. With a what kind of an approach? It cannot be engaging, it must be something different. A clearer approach, bingo. CELTA is one of the most rewarding investments, bravo. And go for it, it will change the way you see teaching forever. And these are not empty words. These are the actual words of a person who went through it with the goods and the bads, and she actually thrived by the end of the course. Now, you seem convinced about the benefits of CELTA and you want to find out more about the admin details. Yes, please, you say. Well, here they are. So this is the calendar for the CELTA courses that we are planning to run next year. You can take a photo if you want, or you can go online. I'll show you exactly where and how at the end of our the presentation of the webinar. And in our 12th year of existence, we are going to run 2 courses. A fully online one from January to June, and a fully offline one starting end of June, finishing end of July. We have already started the enrollment process for both of them, and you should know that there is a limited number of places on offer, only 12 places per course. And just so that you know, there is a high demand already for all of our courses. We only have 6 remaining places for the part-time course and only 10 remaining places for the intensive course in June next year. Now, just as a quick overview of the two courses, because you might wonder what the difference is, the part-time course has live online meetings only on Saturdays, and Cambridge platform work on weekdays, while the intensive course has daily meetings from Monday to Friday. And truth be told, from what I could see up to this point, the choice between the two usually comes down to the teaching environment, Zoom versus the physical classroom, and possibility or willingness to relocate. Now, what do you think would work best for you? Doing the CELTA from the comfort of your own home, the part-time course, or the full-time course? You can write PT or FT if you want in the chat. And you should also know that they are not that different. And the reason why this is because they both focus on the effective principles and techniques of ELT and their practical application in the classroom. They share the exact same syllabus and offer the exact same content. The teaching principles, the techniques, and the strategies are applicable in whatever context, and the certificate issued by Cambridge to successful candidates is the same. There is no mention of the course format on it. So the only two aspects that are different are the actual schedule. We're talking about 6 months versus 4 weeks, and the teaching environment, the traditional classroom versus the Zoom classroom. Now, yes, please, but how do I apply, you say? Worry not, I have an answer for you. You go to the celtatraining.ro website, you download the application form, you fill it in, and you send it to yours truly. And once I receive it, I will send you the second step of the application process, which is the application task. You will solve it, and when that is ready as well, we shall meet for an interview. Worry not, the application process is completely free of charge. So the only remaining first step is to go online, visit our website, and already send in your application form. Now, you are convinced, you can totally see yourselves as one of the Shakespeare School former CELTA trainees. Maybe your testimonial will be the one I show next year, who knows? You are already, you see yourselves applying highly effective and successful teaching techniques in the classroom and growing into your role as a teacher. And you should know that we've got fantastic news for you. One of the biggest advantages, apart from finding out a lot of different things about the CELTA of this webinar, is that you get a fabulous £205 discount for the part-time course. If you apply right now, until Monday, the 3rd of November. So you have the entire autumn holiday to think about this great discount. And if you are even remotely interested, think about it and think it through thoroughly, because you will be able to benefit from the discount. I repeat, the original price of the course is £1,200, but by being a participant in this webinar as a sign of appreciation, because you are here with us, you have a 205 pound discount, which means that for you and only for you, the total cost of the part-time course is 995 pounds. Now, I'll tell you something that I've mentioned earlier, and something that I believe you've kind of felt throughout the presentation. For me, teaching is my dream come true. It's the only thing that I ever wanted to do my whole life. And I decided teaching is my path starting the age of 10. So it was early days. And you being here today says the same thing about you two. And I hope that you will follow your dream, you will achieve your dream, and live it to the best of your abilities. Remember, the CELTA course isn't just about training teachers. It's about what I call equipping visionary professionals with the key to unlocking the potential of the next generation. And to help you start following your dreams, Aniela and I can already start looking at your questions, and we will be more than happy to answer them. So I'll stop my screen share now for the time being so that we can have a look at the questions in the Q&A box. Okay. So what is the difference between CELTA and probably other TEFL certificates? Aniela, would you like to answer this or?
Well, I'd rather only say that Cambridge University Present Assessment is the market leader in this field, has been the market leader in this field since 1913, 412 years. Now, it is not our purpose today to discuss this, but of course, everybody can do their own research, and they've already started because they've been together with us today.
And absolutely true. And what I would like to say is that CELTA isn't only a TEFL certificate, it's the best TEFL certificate.
Yes,
So if
it's
you
called
are
the gold certification.
Exactly. That's why it's called the gold certification. And it's the one that has the most widespread reach, let's say, in addition to it being one of the few that actually has a direct practical component. Somebody is 19 years old. Aniela, do you have access to the Q&A?
Yes, I can see.
Okay, you can see them. Okay. Somebody is 19 years old, currently studying cybernetics, suitable for me if I want to start teaching part-time. Yes, why not? I mean, if your level of English is a C1 plus, and once you turn 20, and quite possibly also finish your studies with cybernetics, why not go for the CELTA? And it's having a CELTA certificate doesn't mean that you're going to be a teacher forever. It means that, as you said, you can do this as well. It gives you possibility and flexibility.
And pleasure for life, because you'll be teaching as
True,
a
very true.
certified teacher.
How is our level of English tested? So first of all, you are asked for a Cambridge certificate. The minimum certificate we accept is the CAE certificate passed with grade A or B, the CPE certificate proficiency, or even IELTS. So your English, your level of English should be demonstrated. It's not tested. Of course, that throughout the application process, you are also going to be doing, taking all the steps in English. So, of course, we're going to see whether the level mentioned on your certificate is the actual level that you have. How much will the preparation for course take and what level is necessary for the CELTA? I think I've already mentioned this, C1 plus. There is no actual preparation, but we do have some suggestions for people who want to already start the course knowing something. Is it extremely necessary to have the C1 diploma, or being a graduate of Faculty of Letters, Language and Literature, Romanian English can be enough? It's a starting point, I would say. And for many of our former course participants, it was enough. But it very much depends on the steps of the application process. And if you can actually demonstrate that your level is C1 plus throughout this application process. Are there any requirements on how old the certificate can be? No, Cambridge certificates are valid for life. But if it was 12 years ago, I mean, you've never used English in your life ever since, there might be a difference.
There might not, Georgiana, if I
There
may.
might also not be. Who knows?
Because you know very well from your own students, somebody who's prepared for C1 advanced and they get the certificate, they usually never forget the lessons. And not only the lessons, they don't forget the experience overall. So for sure, not the lesson. And it's pretty impossible in 2025 not to be exposed to English. And once you've got your C1 advanced, and if you live in a country, because sorry, yes, I thought there were only Romanian participants, but if you live in a country where English is limited and you don't have access to internet, yes, it's possible, but
So, generally speaking,
too many years.
Generally speaking, once you have the certificate, as Aniela was saying, there shouldn't be such a difference. But if throughout the application process we notice that you would benefit from a refresher course, let's say, we will advise you to go for it.
And one of the, Georgiana, if I may, one of the
Absolutely.
reasons why it is essential for to be teachers to have C1 is because you need to study in English, and it's quite academic-ish, if not even academic English, because you will be learning, as Georgiana pointed out, about methodology. There's terminology that is specific to teaching methods and teaching practices. So you might not want to enroll and after that to give up. So because of the language barrier. That's the reason why we insist on C1.
Absolutely. And there's I've kept on mentioning the fact that the course is practical in nature. You actually teach students, and you teach two distinct levels, a lower level and a higher level, in order to be able to cope with teaching B2 level students. The teacher should have a minimum C1 level of English. Otherwise, it will be very difficult. Somebody asked about some of the common challenges trainees face during the CELTA and how we recommend managing them. So the majority of challenges appear from time management. So a person who is very good at managing their own time, organizing their work, not leaving things off until the very last minute, they will always find the course manageable.
That's also because you give them a lot of support, Georgiana. That's why Shakespeare
That's
School.
absolutely true. And we do help trainees to find the best route towards everything. I think what is very important to do on the course, especially if you're taking the intensive course, is to always remember to feed yourself, to keep hydrated, and the most important is to sleep well. The idea is that if you manage your time well, then everything else will fall into its place. Would you have liked to add anything, Aniela?
No, not this. I mean, challenges. All courses we adults take nowadays. We need to manage our time. And when it comes to CELTA at Shakespeare School, this is the only challenge that I see. There might be challenges related to the concepts, to practicing what you've learned in theory, but I wouldn't call them challenges because of you, because you, the trainers, you support them, you make their life easier. So yes, indeed, be mindful about the time only.
So basically, when it comes to concepts or
Yes.
things that you come across because of something new that you haven't maybe done before, this is where the support that Aniela was mentioning comes into place. So we can help you, but you have to manage your own work.
Yes, exactly. You have to make the time.
Yes. We have a question about CELTA recognition. Would you like to answer that?
Yes, of course. There's no recognition from the Ministry of Education in Romania for CELTA. The ministry recognized all our qualifications for non-native speakers, but not the teaching qualifications. And CELTA will probably never be recognized by the Romanian state simply because the Romanian state provides teachers, Romanian teachers, with a different type of certification or certification system, if you'd like. All right, so it is not recognized by the Romanian state, but in order for you to work for a prestigious institution, such as Shakespeare School, for example, because you also invited them to think about joining the team. If you want to work for other private language centers in the world, everywhere in the world, I'm afraid your CV won't be considered unless you've got the golden CELTA qualification.
And I think it's well worth mentioning that more and more employers are looking for the CELTA certificate. And if you are interested in going into the Romanian school system, there's nothing wrong about it, God forbid. And this is where this is the type of let's say, training that we get to. We attend the University of Foreign Languages. At the end, we can become teachers of English, even in the state school system. But without the actual, sorry.
No, go ahead, sorry.
But I was just going to say that without the actual practical suggestions and practical approach of CELTA, it will be very difficult to go into a classroom with a head full of theories of classroom management, but without any kind of practical advice and practical solutions on how to manage students.
And feedback. one of the reasons why I felt CELTA really changed my life, because at that time I had already been teaching for many, many years, was the feedback that I got, both from the trainers and from my peers. That was essential, because you cannot become aware of your persona as a teacher unless somebody observes you, looks at you and tells you. That's what I appreciated, because they will always tell you why, if the feedback is constructive. And these are the areas that you need to improve, like this, because.
And
that was transformative indeed for me. I started teaching in the Romanian state system, talking about the Ministry of Education, and I felt so lonely, because because the only feedback I got was from my students, and if they were able to do the task, if they were able to do their homework, if they were able to take exams and be successful, that was my feedback. But I always think back, I was harsher at that time. I looked at some details that nowadays I would just overlook. I thank CELTA for the better version of myself now.
And I completely agree with you. I was just thinking back to something that many of the trainees have said. So CELTA is a place, as Aniela said, where you learn from what you do and you get feedback on it, and you learn from what the others do and you take part in their feedback as well, and you give them feedback. And at the beginning, because you see other people at the back of the room looking at you, it seems like, oh my God, so many pairs of eyes looking at me. And by the end of the course, many trainees have said, I don't know how I'm now going to go back into the classroom, and I'm going to feel so alone. There will be nobody at the back of the room to help me. To make me become aware of various things. And
exactly. Tiny, I mean, it's not amusing, but one of the things that the trainer told me one day was, Aniela, you should not be walking during listening exercises. I should not be walking. How come? Because I was wearing high heel shoes and I was making disturbing sounds and noises, and that's why. But you know, as a lonely teacher before CELTA, I would have never thought about it. And it's common sense at the end of the day. It's not, but if you don't see yourself because you're preoccupied with a child, you're preoccupied, maybe you want to monitor, maybe you want to do something, maybe you're thinking. One teacher takes 300 decisions in 45 minutes. So you can't see yourself from all angles.
No, and I went through the same painful process that you went through at the beginning of your career as well. It happened to me as well. So in my first year of teaching, I mean, it was like, am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? Thinking about it, self-reflecting, but you can learn through doing and self-reflecting up to a certain point, if you are open to it. And then you need help. And this is where CELTA comes into place.
And CELTA, if I may, one tiny little thing.
Absolutely.
Recognition. Sometimes we all want to be recognized, because we need to cooperate. We need to work for people. We need to work for different institutions. Fine. But this is technically something for Romanian teachers or Romanian participants. How about you becoming the manager of, who knows, maybe a group of teachers? CELTA will also give you the tools to check and to validate your peers' work. And this is how you can get validation from students, from their parents, all in all, from the system.
funnily enough, we've had many experienced teachers on the course. People like what we've seen in the chat today, with 20 plus years of experience. And one of the things that they told me, even from the beginning when they started their application process, was I want to take this course because I need to know whether what I've been doing up to this point was decent enough. I need this validation. And many of them have found it and they went, okay, so I always did this, but I never knew why I was doing it. And now, as you said, it's such a commonsensical thing, but I've never thought about it before. It's eye-opening, and it also whets your appetite for further improvement as well and for further study. For the people who wrote in the chat about the C1 certificate, yeah, it is necessary unless you have any other kind of language certification. And for those of you who are not yet 20, I would recommend that you wait until you turn 20. And truth be told, I would recommend that you wait until you finish your bachelor's degree. After you finish the bachelor's degree or in the last summer, before you move on to something else, allow yourselves to just go through this university challenge, let's say, allow yourselves to grow and then go into the CELTA. We've had trainees who had finished their bachelor's degree but hadn't yet finished their master's degree. The only difficulty was the fact that they weren't able to start teaching straight away. And the more you postpone it, I think the more difficult it is to still connect all of these things. It is advisable to be a university graduate to do the CELTA. We have a lot of somebody wrote a lot of things about how we
Yes.
work our magic and how
Yes,
to compete.
we started with keeping students on their TPTOs. Georgiana presented 3 instruments today, Bamboozle, Kahoot, and Word Wall, right? So gamification is one way to keep them always interested and involved and engaged and enticed. What I feel in the message is also a bit of classroom management techniques. And yes, CELTA is going to make you a very good teacher. You will have a very good class management, and very good class management means that everybody enjoys being in the class, not the teacher dying and the students, I don't know, getting bored or getting difficult to manage.
Disinterested, because this is, I think, where things start falling out of place when they are disinterested. You need the Cambridge certificate before the CELTA course starts because it's one of the requirements, unless you have another language certificate. You don't have to be a teacher in order to become CELTA certified. You just need to meet the minimum requirements. We are a flexible center and we have strategies in place for all sorts of emergencies. We have gone through a lot in our 12 years of existence. The discount I mentioned is valid only until the 3rd of November. How much independent study is expected outside classroom hours? It depends on how fast you work on the tasks as well. And it depends on what kind of course you're taking. And yes, you can teach whatever you want around the world with this certificate. I think we've answered all the questions, and I hope I see lots of thank yous in the chat, which means that people did find this meeting of ours fruitful and meaningful, and they're leaving with the most important information. So everybody, thank you very much for your presence. A lot of people have stayed until the very, very end. Thank you. And thank you for your interest. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for having a dream. And I can't wait to meet you in the interview. I wish you a very good evening, and I think Aniela would also like to say something.
Yes, thank you very much for your curiosity and for your dream to become better teachers or to become teachers of English. To me, being a teacher of English is the most delicious thing. Maybe I'm hungry, that's why I said.
It sounds great. It sounds great. Thank you very much, Aniela, and thank you for staying with us until the very end. I'm sure that we weren't the only ones benefiting, but the many people in the audience as well. Have a very, very good night, everybody, and I hope we can meet very soon as well. Bye, everybody.
Bye.